YouTube, this is Eric DIY with a 1-year review after owning the Stormcat portable generator from Harbor Freight. If you'd like to see the original review almost a year ago, I'll leave a link in the description. But basically, I just wanted to go over problems and also upgrades I've done on the portable generator. So overall, the generator's held up, but not without trouble. Basically, let's go over the updates that I've done to help this thing out. The first thing that I want to point out is that I have this new NGK spark plug cover, which is waterproof. And when on, all you do is you take the plastic and you screw it into the cable after you take off this little metal pin that was on there. And I actually ended up replacing this because the little metal pin that was in there, it's like just like the hook that hooks into the spark plug wire. That ripped out when I took this off the spark plug because I was having a problem with starting this. So I installed the NGK spark plug cover and it's been fine ever since. That brings me to the next problem. It wasn't starting. I went camping with my son on the front yard and I wanted to use the generator for some power. If you'd like to see that video of us setting up the tent, I'll leave that link in the description as well. But that'll give you a little timeline. That was in July. That's after I used this a couple times with the high school band that I direct for the keyboards and also for any other electronic needs outside at the football field at the football games. But anyways, I went to go start it up over the summer. It wouldn't start up. I yanked the spark plug cover off that came with the unit, and basically it ripped off the thin prongs that came out of there. So after I replaced that spark plug cover, I thought, I'm good. It's just the spark plug cover. It wasn't hitting the right way into the spark plug wire. But that wasn't it, because it still wouldn't start. It would kind of sputter and then not work. So what we ended up doing is we ended up going underneath the unit, and you might see a little bowl there for the carburetor. And I took that carburetor all apart and I cleaned it just with some standard carb cleaner from Walmart, really cheap stuff. And I put it all back together, making sure the float was there and the needle in the float was there. And voila, it worked. I don't know what was wrong with it. I didn't see any corrosion in the carburetor. I didn't see any fuel. I didn't see anything. I know that fuel was getting through the fuel line to the carburetor because I actually smelled gas in the carburetor. And I also took out the spark plug and smelled the spark plug end just to make sure it was getting gas, and it was. So it was just a dirty carburetor. So one thing that I do now to make sure that the carburetor stays clean is at the end of using this generator, I'll leave it running, but I'll put the fuel off with this fuel switch right here. And I just leave it running until it runs out of fuel, basically. That way the carburetor will have little to no fuel in it every time you use it, and it shouldn't corrode anything in the carburetor or clog anything up. And another upgrade that I did, I pulled out that crappy torch spark plug that they gave you, and I replaced it with an Autolite spark plug. I'll leave a link in the description to the spark plug I bought to replace the fake torch spark plug that came with the unit. This one works way better. It just fires up right away. There's no false starts. It takes like a couple pumps to prime, and then you just kind of yank it once and it works. So the Autolite spark plug is the way to go on these things. Now I'll be honest with you, with an $89.99 generator, I'm not expecting much. I just needed something again to power up equipment at the football field for my high school band that I direct. But also this thing, the handle here broke. Just a little bit cracked. Now that's not a big thing, but I just wanted to show you that it's flimsy plastic, so but it still works. You could still pull on it now. And the last thing that I adjusted on the unit is, if you look in here, there'll be a screw, which I'm probably not going to be able to show you, but there's a little Phillips screw, and what that does is it lets you adjust the hertz of the electrical power coming out. In America, we like to have 60 hertz to have AC power come out, basically. And when I first measured this, I used a kilowatt tool. I have a link to a review of that too, which I'll also leave in the description. So as you can see, there's going to be lots of things that you can look at here. But I hooked that up to the AC out, and it gave me the hertz of the generator. It was pumping out 63 hertz on the AC power. So I just dialed it back to around 60 where it should be. Now again, this isn't the cleanest power. They sell generators with inverters in them. That'll do much better, but again, this is just a small, not really high-tech generator, so therefore it just does the job. I used down that trimmer up there, part of that basically, so I could just move around the house and not have to worry about extension cords. So I mean, it has done its job. It still works. So overall, it's still a good value if you just take care of it. Other things to take note, you have to put the fuel in with the oil, as it has to be measured. That definitely has to happen. And also always use fuel stabilizer in this thing, unless you run it like all the time. Now I don't. I do not. I do run it every now and then just to make sure that it's running and I keep the fuel somewhat fresh. But I always use fuel stabilizer in the fuel. I don't use this thing enough to not use fuel stabilizer. But anyways, it still works even after a year. It was a good buy. I believe that Harbor Freight now has a generator that's basically the same thing called the Tailgater. They just rebranded it and it has a green top. But overall, if you're just looking for a cheap generator to bring on like camping trips or weekend things, or even just to go camping, like this is still a good generator to get. If you're looking for something to power electronics, laptops, stuff like that, you probably want one with an inverter in it, which will give you cleaner power coming out of the generator. I definitely do not mind the Stormcat at all for what I use it for. I have used it with electronics, amps, keyboards, stuff like that. It works just fine on that. So yeah, a year later, it had its problems. I had to update certain things on it to make it run better. But overall, it's still a good buy at $89.99. And I think I might even paid $80 after a coupon, because I bought it during one of those sidewalk sales at Harbor Freight. So yeah, pick up yours today. I'll leave a link in the description to a generator that's just like this that you can buy on Amazon if you're looking for one. Thanks for watching. I hope this was a little informative, and maybe some of the upgrades that I've done on it can help you. So have a nice evening. As always, if you like this video, found it useful, please subscribe. And if you have a product that you would like reviewed, please contact Eric by emailing him at eric5150diy@gmail.com. Have a great day.